Who's got the first question for me? Anything you're running into, or let me open the chat.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So I just started the training about a week ago, so I just want to say I love it, absolutely love it. I did SEO before, so I have a little bit of an idea. But when you talk about sending the 30 screencasts, because that's my goal this week is to send the 30, do I pick one niche? And if I pick one niche, what if I have more than one client that wants to go with me? Now I have two people in the same, I'm in Chicago, so it's a large city, so I might have to break it up into a suburb, but what if I have like two body shops in Chicago? Aren't they competing against each other? Two guys say, yeah, I want to go with you.
Yeah. So you wouldn't land more than one client. And so that kind of may create a pressure situation if you have multiple people interested. Mm-hmm. It's not something I would worry about in the beginning. What's the population of Chicago?
What is 2 million? My friend.
Okay. So anything over 1 million, I would just break it up. I would focus on pocket cities to start your prospecting in Chicago, because it's going to take longer to get rankings and results in Chicago for any business because of the sheer population and the number of businesses in your niche. The sweet spot is like 70,000 to 200,000, where you can bring them in. You can charge a lower fee if they're not comfortable with you, but even at $1,000 a month on all of these service type niches, you can get them a quick ROI. So now that may help if you have, a guy over here in this pocket of Chicago. I don't know what your suburbs are, but like San Antonio, we're broken up into several pockets like that we can do, Kirby or Windcrest or whatever.
Okay.
It's really not an issue if you're going. The downside I see, especially since pandemic, is so many members went vertical and picked one niche and just focused on that one niche. Robert is an example. He went to $100,000 and his all of it was medical niche. When the pandemic hit, a lot of them doctors were forced to just stop their offices and close. So he lost a bunch of clients like instantly because they're all in the same field. He still had plenty of going on. I mean, he scaled to $100,000 in 10 months, so he was okay. But I like to keep it, keep a mix going, because you don't have to necessarily know the inner workings of these niches and their businesses to make them work, because all you're doing is plugging them into the same process. The same steps will rank any local website, but you're going to get faster results for them, which makes them want to keep paying you month after month because they see the results coming fast, when maybe they've tried SEO before and they've been told SEO takes forever. And before I started this, I have a furniture store and a tourism business, and I'm trying to find out how to rank my site. So I've got the retail end of it as a business owner, trying to figure out how to pay somebody to do SEO. And yet they're telling me, look, okay, it's X number of dollars per month, but it's slow. It takes time. It's going to be months before you see any kind of results. That's hard to hear as a business owner. So when we can come in and say, within 60 days, if you don't see a massive increase in rank, you get your money back. That's stuff they want to hear. They want to hear fast results. They want to hear that their dollars they're paying you, they can see visibly that it's working. So they may be on page 5. And I'm kind of going off your question, but I think I need to cover this because it's been touched on a lot in the group. They may be on page 5. In the first 30 days, they could jump to page 2 or maybe even page 1. By 60 days, you've got a massive increase from where they started. When they see that as a business owner, they want to keep paying you because they now want to see how far you can take them, right? They may not have seen calls already, but they've Googled their name. They know where they're ranked. They know who their competitors are in the top 3 and where they're ranked. They just don't know how to get there. So now when they actually see something happening with their ranking, now they'll keep paying you. And so now by month 3, 4, now the phone's starting to ring more and more, and they're getting some pops on page 1. It just keeps things going when you can get them fast results. And it's really hard to do that in a 1 million, 2 million population. I would hit those and let them scale. Once you've got somebody in a pocket of Chicago, you start getting the results, and then maybe you're adding location page for each of these pockets. Now you can take on, you've got a lot of trust with Google. You can take on the Chicago keywords and start ranking them for that. But at the same time, you're increasing your fee with every location you add because you're bringing them value with each location. You might charge them $1,000 for one, but you don't have to charge them $1,000 for each. You can add on $300-400 for each added location. All you're doing is adding that location page, doing the on page for it, and it begins to rank because of the words on the page. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Who's next?
Hey, Brandon, Steve Hassel here. How are you?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Pretty good. Hey, listen, I joined several weeks ago and went through the training, got sidetracked with some personal stuff here. Just our son's going to school in Europe.
Oh, wow.
For his freshman year, first year, and we've been crazy busy with trying to line that all up and get him on a plane and over there. But coming back into it, but just wanted to say something about the what you've been talking about and preaching. I'm actually a member of another group called Seven Figure Agency, and you may know Josh Nelson from whatever places you guys traffic together. But almost everything I've heard you say he's repeated in his group in one frame or another. I think what you've done really nicely is distilled down. He's got a much bigger, more comprehensive program, meaning there's a lot more pieces to the puzzle. And for digital agency owners, it's going to take me and anybody else in that group a while to put them all together. I think what you've done is distilled them down into a really nice, simple, easy to follow package. And I'm kind of excited about that because everything he's talking about and the members in that group are talking about are things I've heard you talk about now for months that I've been following you.
Yeah.
And you've made it a lot simpler, I think, than it exists in the other program. So kudos to you for pulling that all together.
Appreciate it. Yeah, so I've taken a lot of high ticket courses before this, and now, more recently after. I bought a $10,000 course and a $20,000 course 2 weeks ago. But I want to see how they're putting these together so I can bring the information back to the group. One of them is a YouTube ad, so it's more directed to helping the membership grow here, but it's also going to trickle down because I'm taking what I'm learning there and bringing it back here. One of the things was the prospecting training that is working so well for me and a bunch of others in the group, just going into Facebook Messenger groups. So if you want to apply this locally, pick any city, and this is where you can really pick what city you want to do business in. To do population search, find somebody in that sweet spot, 70 to 150,000 population, and go into Facebook groups and type that city name. Now you're going to see different lists of community groups that you can go and join and just start talking or, engaging, commenting, liking, whatever. Don't start trying to go in immediately and start reaching out to the people, because if you reach out to too many, some of these are pretty close. They're going to talk to the admin and say, hey, this guy's reaching out and telling me this stuff. Well, if they get 2 of those, now you're kicked out. So be a part of the group first, but you can go and kind of pick your sweet spots. But look for people. These are local businesses, and they're talking about things that we provide as a service. Pick them off, send them a private message. This is from your private Facebook account, your personal account, not your business page, and just engage with them. How's your business affected? I've had so much success just with the line, hey, how's your business been affected since this pandemic? Everybody on the globe has the same thing in common right now. And so we can use it as a connect point, but also to find out how we can help them. Because that's the main thing, right? We don't want their money if we can't help them. I tell people, look, I'd like to have a conversation, but if it's something I can help you with, I'll let you know. If it's not, I can probably point you to the place that somebody who can. Because money's not even going to come up in my conversation until they bring it up. So one way is to join these groups and just watch and private message people. So you'll get a response so fast on Facebook Messenger. I'm seeing like 80% of the people reply within minutes. So then you move on to the next question. And in the training, the last training in the prospecting section, there's a little module. I don't know if you've watched it, but I literally I'm recording it, and in real time, one of the guys is messaging me back that I'd messaged. So I continue my conversation as I'm shooting the training for you guys. So you can see what happens. And pretty soon, if you've done it enough, you've got just a copy and paste few set of sentences that leads them to where you're trying to bring them. And that's to, do they want more business and things like that? Have you ever tried SEO? I figured out a way to make it crazy, stupid, easy. And we've helped many, many local businesses succeed. You want to look at this, and so you can get into conversation, but I've tried it this way too. Taken all or groups of my cut and paste things and putting more information in one, just to kind of shorten the number of back and forths. Doesn't work. They need that one sentence at a time type of deal. Otherwise they're like, they stop answering, or they tell you to go to hell or whatever. They need those one by ones, and you can easily lead people to where you're trying to get them to go. And I've added $40,000 to my agency. Dozens of members have joined RankDaddy because I'm using it on both ends. Obviously, everything I try, I've got to try for my agency before I can bring it to you guys. And this is how RankDaddy even started. It wasn't even a concept until I realized that I could repeat and rinse and repeat so many things in my agency, and they work every single time. And some other people in other groups are like, man, you got to share this with people. So that's kind of how RankDaddy started. So
I do have a follow-up question for you. When you started, do you recommend that your members have an agency website prior to the 30 for 30?
So that's kind of something that we get in our heads about. There's members in the group that have done this for 2 years and don't have an agency site yet.
Is that right? Okay.
So for me, I want to have that in case somebody says, or if I want to put it, they look me up or whatever, it's in my email, signature line, whatever, but it's not necessary. So that's another one of the reasons why we made the agency website like template so affordable for people. $300, you got an agency site, because we were seeing people come in and just panic because they want to start. They got all this information, they're ready to go, but they're so afraid that they don't have an agency site to show, and so they're trying to spend all this time learning how to build it, and all this stuff that's not revenue generating, right? Trying to figure out how to learn how to build a website, and it slows them down. So we plugged it in there for $300. You get a nice agency website. It's based on your city and the core things that we offer. And then you can go and tweak it as you have time, but you don't need an agency website to start prospecting. I think over the last 5 years that I started this, there might have been a handful of 5 or less. And I've had over 100 SEO deals that said, hey, what's your website? It's ultra rare. I think it's all in our head.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to weave that in somewhere in the beginning of the training because it's a recurring theme question from people.
Well, and honestly, it's the thing that was stalling me a little bit in the last week. Like I said, I had to come back to this. I've been kind of away from it for about 3 weeks because of getting our son set up. But then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I really need a website to validate what I'm trying to do here. Should the prospect go out there? To your point, probably more in my head than maybe somebody else's. So fair point.
Set up a business page, a Facebook business page. You can send them to that. But if it gets too far in your head, just get the site set up. I mean, you don't want to make it be a stress causer. But what we don't want to see people is, okay, I need an agency site. Now I got that. Oh, what if they ask me, why is my agency site not ranked? Now I got to rank my agency site. I've gone through that too. So I spent months ranking my agency site. I built some Web 2.0s as agency sites, ranked those. So at one point I had 8 of the 10 organic positions when you Google New Braunfels SEO and different things like that. 8 of the 10 organics, 2 map positions out of the 3, out of 5, there was 5 then, and then 2 YouTube videos. It was like, what is SEO? I was dominating page 1 for a year, and I got 2 deals from it. It's pointless. Yeah. So we get into this, we got to do all this busy work type of stuff when you can literally just go out and start landing deals today without any of it. So
Thanks.
people want to hear that you can help them. And once you've proven them that, and a lot of it comes from, they're hearing your voice or they're reading the words in your emails, and the things that you've come across, and use the word we a lot. Lean on the group as leverage. If you have no deals and you're just starting, we have a ton of success stories, and you can go through and just put success in the group and just read and read and read. So lean on that as leverage as you're landing deals, and use it in your language when you're talking to business owners. Once they think or know that you can help them, and the probability that is high enough, they'll try you. So
I have a question about, is it okay if we say I'm partnering with a company that has years and years of success and we have all this background? Is that verbiage that's, as a new person coming in, is that verbiage good to use? And we have that guarantee, and I'm working with this company that's, is that an okay way? And refer to SEO3 or RankDaddy, or not at all, or not give names? What's your advice on that?
So I wouldn't say I'm partnering with the company. That, to me, and it may just be me, it sounds like I'm still learning. But when you use words like team, like we have a team of writers, we have a team of coders, we have a team of backlink specialists, we have a press release team. Like, you got all these teams at your disposal. It's like it's your agency. And so you want them to know that it's your agency. You're not just under somebody, because they're going to be like, well, let me just contact them or somebody else who's not in you don't want to be in the lower position. You want to be at a team. So now you're equal playing field, because all these things really are at your command. Once you start a campaign, you're hiring the press release team. You're hiring the social signals team. So, I think frame it more like that than partnering with somebody. I don't know that I mean, if you want to, you can use SEO3, but that's kind of focused. I don't really use that website anymore. It was just something as my agency to have. It's geared toward Texas and New Braunfels, and it's kind of focused more on that local than where you may be prospecting. So,
that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, but those words like that, team and us, and the things you have at your disposal that are able to help business owners are just pretty powerful. So,
I think that's good if I'm working with people that don't know me, for sure, that I can use that. For people that do already know me and know my background and what I've done, explaining that, hey, I'm doing this because I'm growing and and this is what I want to expand.
That makes sense, because they're going to know you and they're going to think, how does she suddenly have all these teams, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense to use it in that scenario. Yeah. Very good. So let me go to the chat here. There's a couple in here. Tommy says this tactic works very well. The reason that's why he's here. So Tommy was one of the dozens that joined with the Facebook prospecting. And then Ted says, I have a warm lead with a Wix site. In the past, you've mentioned that they're difficult to rank. Is that still the case? If so, why? So Ted and Wix, and this is another thing I need to stick in the training in the beginning. It's in the Facebook group. There's a bunch of posts. We get in our heads about looking at a website because we know what we're looking for, or maybe we can look at it and they're like, oh, there's no way that's going to rank because this and that, and we start picking them apart. We don't want to bring that back to our client, okay? If they come to you in the beginning and say, hey, I think I need to rebuild because my site sucks or whatever, have the conversation. If not, you're only trying to land the SEO deal. You can rank any crappy website and get it moving to page 1 with this process. And I'm talking about crappy like the GoDaddy site builder sites, the Weebly, the Wix, and the Weebly or Wix, they're getting better, but there's an old HTML type stuff, Joomla, like just ghetto website stuff responds to this process. Because you only have to start with the one main keyword of that business, because a lot of times these websites will only let you fix the on-page for one deal, and that's what the site's about. So we've gotten all of those to page one using this process. So don't have it get in your head that you need to go in and have a conversation because they need a rebuild. It's going to cost them $1,000 or whatever before they can start SEO. So don't. Wix, I've actually ranked a bunch of Wix sites. Some of them, because they're like fancy, right? They look good, but they don't really communicate well with Google when you get high competition or you've got them up to, bottom of page one. Some cases, they'll keep climbing. It all depends on each scenario. It all depends on, what is the competition level when they get to that point? Who's above them? What kind of sites are they? And can Google read those pages? So they may also be no WordPress sites above them. You could get Wix to number one, Weebly to number one. So unless they bring it up or a few months have gone by and it has gotten stuck at the bottom of page one for the main keywords, then you can have the conversation because you've already brought them results. They're already seeing phone calls and customers come in because of your results, but you can say, okay, look, we're kind of getting stuck and this thing will climb to the top if we just are able to migrate over to WordPress. WordPress is, Google sees it as a blog type site, user-friendly. It's there for the end user. Let's think about moving it over to WordPress. But see, now they're ready to listen to you. If you do all this up at the beginning, they're like, oh crap, I got to fix my website and all this stuff before I can even start worrying about ranking it. They're not going to do anything. They're going to be too overwhelmed. So that's been my experience. Just say yes, take the deal. I don't care what your website looks like. Outsource the on-page to SEO outsource. That team can do any kind of anything to get it moving. It may not be 5 pages of keywords, but you don't need all 5 pages to get it moving. You want to get the results with the one main keyword, that whatever niche they're in. So Ted had a follow-up for the group. I've ranked 2 Weebly sites to number one. Yeah, so have I. Weebly is actually, when I started 5 years ago with Weebly, it wasn't too great. They didn't have a lot of HTML stuff, but we were still, with this process, shooting them up there. So don't get too focused on what platform the site's on, especially in the beginning. You can look at it and realize it's crappy. So Google, in the group, go search client website sucks. There's a post, and it talks all about this. So that's a good question, though, too. Is anybody here from the light group that is not in the pro group? So this is the first time I've done this, and I posted in the trial group, RankDaddy Lite, to join us on the Zoom calls. So I didn't know if any of those had hopped over. It's just all pro people.
I was in it at one time. I don't know that if I still am.
Okay.
I'll tell you, one of the questions I had, if I could, on these people that have done the lead gens with the fake GMBs and so on and so forth, is there a way to prospect online where you can look at somebody who's been ranked and see that they maybe had a fake GMB and that be a prospecting tool to let them know the dangers that might lie ahead if they remain in that kind of a situation? If Google were to start really cracking down hard on these fake GMBs, they seem to be anyway.
They are.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not understanding your question. So the actual business who have hired the lead gen company to make the fake stuff, try to find a way to reverse that to get to the client to let them know, hey, this could be dangerous?
Pretty much just by doing search. Like if I go on page one and I go through companies, I call them on the phone and ask them, how did you, if I can get them on the phone, but is there a way to, before I even call them on the phone?
Yeah. You would have had to gone through a pretty high level lead gen course to be able to identify if what you're looking at is actually a lead gen site. Some of them you can tell because there's clues like the name is kind of generic or it's city niche, like it's exactly spelled out, or there's a prominent web form that's not like on the bottom where it should be or on the contact form. If it's like main on the home page, because you can't really tell. You could Google the phone number because that won't pull up the actual business that is answering the phone because they got their phone number on there. So there's a lot of legwork. But that said, I don't know what you would say to the business owner other than that lead gen site could just disappear one day. It's not going to affect their business. Like it won't affect their ranking or wherever they're at, but maybe just educating them on what's happening in the lead gen world. And they may have already run into it. You know, they may have already been paying a lead gen company and they say, hey, we got to reset here because our map got suspended, but we'll get a new one up and we'll get the leads flowing again. So I don't know.
So that does happen then. I mean, this is
my gosh, yeah. Daily. Like like I'm in a bunch of lead gen groups because that's one of the groups that are really easy to get into RankDaddy because so many people we got dozens and hundreds probably of members have come through who paid $5,000 for a lead gen course, and they see how easy RankDaddy is. Maybe they've watched my episode 3 and they see me play it out, why I quit the whole lead gen model altogether. I mean, I spent thousands of dollars and I built 40 lead gen sites. Then many of them were ranked at the top 3. But I just kept running into problem after problem after problem. And that was before the GMBs, that part was even an issue. You could get a GMB up and it stayed up. But the issue was you'd set up a tracking number and they would call it, it would ring to the business and the business would hear a message. So they would know that it's a lead coming in so that it's tracked, right? The calls are recorded. So everybody's on board. The business can't really cheat the guy out of his lead money. Or if they filled out the form for more information, it would go to the business, but it also goes to the guy who set up the GM or the lead gen site. So the problem I was seeing over and over and over, businesses would tell me, why do I need to keep paying you for these leads? Because the same guy who just called through your tracking number hang up and is still looking for quotes, and they called me 2 minutes later to my actual business line. There's nothing you can say to convince them they need to, if they're getting the call anyway, why in the heck am I paying you $25 to $300 for this lead? They're calling me anyway. So you lose them and you go on and you spend another 2 weeks giving the free leads out to another business, and then pretty soon they run into the same thing. So that problem really happens a lot in the sweet spot when you've got under 200,000 population, because you've only got 20 roofing companies. Maybe only 10 to 12 of those have a website. And now you got to really 5 to 7 of those doing anything with SEO or lead gen. So the odds are very good that they're going to get the same call. Now the flip side to that, we'll just do it in a bigger city, 1 million population, San Antonio. It takes months. You're cranking out months of paying for tracking number, paying for the UPS store, paying for SEO to get the thing ranked. And it takes months to get it ranked before calls even start coming in. So there's issues on all sides. So when people in the lead gen groups, if I trigger them and I say, hey, how's it going with your business? Do you do SEO too? Sometimes have you tried client SEO, or is it just mainly lead gen? They're like, we're just doing lead gen. Have you run into this? And so I lead them through that conversation, or I get them to watch episode 3 where it's all laid out. And you're like, you got to be kidding me. This sounds so much easier. And I'm not using any of my own money to do it. Yeah, that's how we set it up. The client pays in advance. So you're not spending all this money creating lead gen sites and tracking numbers and having the issue of burning customers out. Because pretty soon, I still to this day have roofing sites and limo sites ranked #1 in cities like this where there's nobody else to give the leads to. Nobody. They already realize it because they've gone through that 5 to 7 group businesses. So I dumped all 40, I ignored the $5,000 that I lost on the training and just used the pieces in there of education and applied it to this along with other stuff that I had learned and applied and tried and kind of built a process where I could use the client's money and rank their site and still be in control, yet let them think that they're in control because they can stop at any time. When the client thinks that they can stop paying whenever they want, there's no contract, that takes a load off, right? They're really, that's one more step of them being willing to try you. And use the word try. I love the word try because they're trying you. There's no commitment there. They're not like, here, 6 months contract. You might see something, soon, but you got to commit to 6 months at $1,000 a month, or we really can't start. We're not using any of that language like other SEO companies do, because we figured out a process to make it work on any local site. So in lead gen companies, people who have been trained in lead gen or paid for a $5,000 lead gen course, hear all this and see the testimonials and the results that members are getting using none of their own money. It's an easy flip. That one video is probably responsible for 40% of our members over the last 5 years.
Let me ask you this: as far as your prospecting is concerned, are you using the screencast method at all? Is that part of how you go about it?
Yeah,
that would really be a selling way to sell, not really prospect.
Yeah, we use the screencast. That was my main method, and that's one of the things I pulled from that $5,000 course, was because you're able to start with the customer's website, right? It's on display. So when you start playing there or using that as the thumbnail, when they see it, they're going to open it because they're like, why is my website here and there's a video? Let me see. So you just set up little micro steps in order to get them to watch. So when I built the business, that's how I prospected 100%. I hated phone calls. I did not want to get on anybody's phone call. People would ask for a phone call, and I would say, I don't do phone calls because I want everything to be in writing. So that way, if there's ever an issue in the future, you got it in writing, I got it in writing, we're all good. And that was my excuse for not getting on the phone. But it's just because I didn't want to get on the phone. A lot of it in the beginning was I didn't have the confidence to get on the phone. I mean, I'll take phone calls now all day, and I'll flip people just because I know the verbiage and all the experience. But for people coming in new, that screencast thing is awesome. So we have a deal in the pro group. It's called the 30-30 challenge. And so in your first 30 days, if you can send out 30 screencast videos, and we show you how to do the prospecting, how to line them up. We have exact formulas on what to say. And it's just like 5-minute videos. You get really good at the language. So now, if you want to take phone calls or you want to go door to door after the pandemic, whatever, you can, because you're more comfortable with what you're saying. But I think the majority of the students that come in start with the screencast. And prior to this Facebook prospecting method, they would all be cold, right? I'd go into Google and just search New Braunfels landscaping, flop down to page 2, and prep up a screencast video for all the businesses on page 2, and then page 3, or whatever, or whoever's paying for ads and is not on page 1. So they're already spending money. So I'd prep them up cold like that and send them out. But we have a process in the pro group that teaches you micro steps. So you're emailing this to the business. First of all, what email should that be coming from? We always recommend to use your personal email. You're not sending it from SEO3 Web Consulting, right? Because that's an immediate delete for 90% of the businesses that see it. We see a 90 to 95% open rate because we're sending it from a personal email, and the subject line is something that looks to that business owner like a customer. So it could be roofing question, or it could be commercial roofing, or whatever. Now they've got it open. So micro steps, personal email, simple subject line. Now it's open. Now there's an email open with their video screenshot of their website with a couple lines of text saying, hey, came across your website and I noticed these 2 things that if you, and that's mentioned in the video. What is my text? Just a couple simple lines to get them to watch the video. So that's the next micro step. And then your video, 5 to 7 minutes long, shows them 2 little things that they can fix on their website to immediately get Google to realize what their website is about, AKA what they're trying to rank for, right? So, and if you have any questions, just reply to this email. And so you take them through a mini funnel with micro steps, making sure they get to the next step. And then at the end, they're like, oh, this makes sense. I got to do this. And so they'll either try to do it, or they won't have time, or they'll respond to you and say, yeah, I'd like your help. And so then we're landing them like that.
Are you purchasing email list, and are you using an email campaign program?
Nope. No. Personal email. No need to purchase lists. You're going to local businesses I mean, you got to see where they're ranked. If you bought a list, now you got to go see if the email's even valid, because on these lists, sometimes they're old. Then you got to see where they're ranked. It's just, that's too much work. I'm talking about taking 10 minutes to prep and shoot and send the video, and it's done. I can knock out 10 in a day in an hour, maybe a little over an hour. Another good, cool way is going to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever and looking for signage on the truck or a billboard. And now Googling, you determine, obviously, though he's a roofer in New Braunfels, so I'm going to check and see where he's ranked for New Braunfels roofing. He's not on page 1, so I'm going to send him a video. I got a picture of his truck. And then, so now the inside, maybe the subject of the email, I saw your truck at Home Depot. Oh, heck, that's a customer. I got to open that email. And you go on from there. So you're establishing mini rapport and having micro steps to get them through the little thing to watch your video. And then they realize they need your help, because you're proving to them, man, if I just fix my on page and my meta title, now Google knows what my site's about. Obviously, that's not the whole campaign. That's just to start things off, but you're giving them education and value and helping them in advance before even mentioning that your fee, whatever it costs.
Right.
So,
Brandon, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm in a town at about 35,000 that's growing really quickly. And then like the town right outside ours is another 35,000. So they're growing. And so I have like lawn people and different things out here that are ranking really quickly if I type in Eagle Mountain where I live, right? But then if I type in like Lehigh, which is a little bit bigger, they're not. If I go to those type of companies and say, hey, you're ranking really high right here where we are, but are you wanting to grow and expand to bigger areas? Is that like, should I do that, or should I instead just skip where I am because it's too small and go to the bigger areas that are 20 minutes away from me?
No, that's actually something you could do, because likely the volume of business they get in just that town might not be enough, or they can grow, and they can travel to these other close by cities. And yeah, that would be a fast result too, because they've already got trust for that one area, and you just make sure their on page is proper and add a service page for the other cities. Those could be really easy deals.
Okay, so that's a good tactic possibly for me to try and do. Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Let me see what's in the chat here. We got a couple more in. LA Rankin. Okay, he's joining us from Light also. Hope you're enjoying it, LA. Chris, I have a client that has WordPress. I know zero about WordPress. How much do I need to know to rank them? I plan on outsourcing everything, obviously, but I will personally need to go into the interface and change everything, or will I? Lead gen is very hard, exclamation point. I have a site in the box and have no leads. That's common. So I don't know anything about WordPress, and I'm doing okay because we outsource everything. I mean, I can go in and I know how to log in, and I see the site and I can click pages, so that'll open up my list of pages, and I can open up what page I want to edit and maybe change the words on a page. It takes me a little longer to upload a picture because sometimes it's the wrong size or it ends up centered the wrong. It doesn't matter. If you want to learn about WordPress, go to YouTube, and whatever you're trying to do, just how to change an image in WordPress, and Google that in YouTube, and there's a bunch of videos showing you how to do it. If you're like me and you don't, just outsource it. Like, if you want to scale your agency, the absolute fastest way, this is why I set RankDaddy up the way it is. We show you why this step needs to be here, how we do the step, where to outsource the step. That outsource step is where I outsource stuff for my agency. If I find a better place, it's going to be replaced, and we're going to suddenly see that shift. And we've done that a few times over the course of the 5 years. You're using the stuff that I use for my agency. I'm not going to tell you what to use because I'm trying to make money off of you. It's there, and at these slim prices in SEO outsource and localize, because that's what we use. So I don't want to learn how to write. I don't want to learn how to do content or edit WordPress or any of this other stuff. I want to land deals. I want to talk to people about help growing their business. And so that's how you scale. You let the people who know how to do that stuff, and you just land deals and plug them into the system. Check in with them once a month, send them the ranking report that if you're doing white label, we'll give you the ranking report. Otherwise, you get the account at SerpTrack and send them the ranking report a few days before the bills due, so they can see the progress. By the way, I've got some training stuff coming up on Outsource to show you how to, even if you've got some keywords that may have dropped a month in ranking, but others have come up, how to format that report so it looks good every month. So those are going to be coming in the help section of SerpTrack. So that'll help. And we've added some other features in there so that they can see progress no matter if the progress just happened within 7 days or yesterday or 30 days, because we bill them monthly, right? So we want to show them progress so they keep paying monthly so we can keep continuing to get them results. Sometimes in a campaign, Google, because we're doing so much to that site, starts bouncing. And if you look at programs that show you rankings by the minute, you see spikes on this thing. You could go from position 7 to position 77 and then 12 and then 44. Like, it is some active algorithm, Google trying to figure out where your rankings go. But the second you pull that report, it might not be where you want to show the client. It looks bad. Some of them look good, some of them look bad. Like, it drops 12 spots this month. So there's a column now in SerpTrack that says DWM, day, week, month. So you can see over the 30 days, here's what happened. It might have dropped 12 spots, but over the last week, it's come up 7. So it's got a green 7. And then the day might be a +4. So you can show them if they have that question, look, yesterday it came up 4. This week it's come up 7. Yes, over the month overall, it did drop 12 spots, but we're on the way back up. It's expected. It's a Google bounce. So things like that, I'm going to put some videos in SerpTrack so you can show your client that what you're doing is working, because that's what we want.
Fran, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, you had, it seems to me you mentioned in one of your videos that after we start into using the back end, that over time our cost for that back end goes down. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah. So we see in our deals by month 5 or 6, we're at 80 to 90% profit, because so much of the SEO campaign's front loaded, right? You got a press release that usually is done once. Maybe you'll do it again later. That's a one-time fee. Citations, that's a one-time fee. On-page SEO, that's a one-time fee, unless you're adding other pages later, which you've got more money to deal with then because you're charging them a little. So much of this is front-loaded to get the communication started with Google and the trust started. All of these things that are one-time, the press release, the social signals, those two really, they kind of work hand in hand. And then the citations, the on-page, it's all to establish a nice foundation of trust. Once you've got that, now it's just ongoing Web 2.0 and PBN links to keep the trajectory going to get it to the top. So that's your only expense. And once you've built a network of PBNs, you really got Web 2.0 as your expense.
How do you protect your ownership in these assets that you're building for the customer so that they can't just get rid of you and own the assets themselves? Or
so all of those assets,
or the people in the back end that are doing it, how do we secure our ownership of that?
What back end?
Well, if they're setting up the backlinks and the citations and doing the optimization.
Yeah, if you go to the training, you own whatever is given to you. So if you buy PBN links, you're not buying the link, you're buying the domain. You own that domain. So you link to your client. If your client quits, you can use that same thing and link to a different client. It's yours. You own it. It's in your hosting account. When you buy it, we need your Namecheap and your SiteGround or Host9 so we can move it to your possession. It's yours. So that's how you control the back end of the people who are setting it up. The control of the customer, though, is kind of something that we've developed along the way, because you want them to think they can stop at any time, because that's how you get them started. Once they've started and they see results, Now, this is very rare, but it may happen. You get a guy to number one, and he's been at number one, and he keeps paying you $1,000 a month, and then one day he realizes, why do I have to keep paying you if you've already got me at number one? So you can do this a number of ways, but I've found to do it if I don't tell them in the beginning how I'm making this work, like when I say the beginning, before they've paid the first month, I make sure to come back on like month 3 and say, okay, by the way, I just want to let you know how we're doing this. So in our group, and also you can probably search in the RankDaddy YouTube page or YouTube channel, what happens in an the SEO process. I think it's the SEO process close. It's an actual RankDaddy TV episode, so you can find it since you're not in pro. But in the pro group, and there's a transcript. So you can look at the video, you can look at the transcript, and you can use those words and give them to the customer. So basically what happens is I explain to the customer, yes, we're establishing this base of trust, but what keeps you ranked to the top is we own a network of incredibly powerful, trusted, high authority websites that when we place one link on that to you, it's like we just gave you 1,000 links all at once. And here's how we come to those come to own this network of websites. So you give them the scenario, and this is really what a PBN is. Maybe there was a landscaping company. He was in business for 10 years. He always gave love to his website. You know, he changed it, added content and pictures, and he gained Google's trust. Maybe he paid somebody to do SEO and got some backlinks, more trust. And then 10 years later, he changes his company name, or he goes out of business, or he forgets to renew his domain and it goes through an auction. We buy those for the sole purpose of knowing that they have a massive amount of trust and authority, because we know that when we build a website on that domain, all the words are gone. We're just buying the domain. It could be XYZ Roofing Alliance, and we turn it into a travel and recreation website. But when we use a sentence and link it to your site, it's just like your site got 1,000 regular powered links all at once. So Google sees this. Those are the sites that hold your ranking to the top. So
is that what the Web 2.0 sites do?
No, Web 2.0 is to hide the massive power that those have. Because everything we teach you in RankDaddy is about naturally ranking a site. It can't seem, if you were to just use PBNs and these massively powerful links, your site would not rank. It would come up and then Google would see what's going on, because it's not natural for a regular landscaping guy to have massively authority, you know, all these, it's like, it doesn't happen. So you got to use these little micro Web 2.0 sites coming in constantly. Some are do follow, some are no follow, to hide the fact that these massive powerful links are coming in. So those are your two expenses that are ongoing. The Web 2.0 monthly to hide the 1 or 2 or 3 PBN links you're doing each month. And then you get to the point where there's like, I have a couple of clients that are ranked number 1 for dozens and dozens of keywords. And until we start noticing some of their competition taking over some of those spots, we don't even do Web 2.0 and PBN anymore. This guy's now paying to basically rent all the links that are there in my network going to him. There's no actual work. There's no actual expense. Now, if the guy wants to do add some stuff, you know, that's different. But that's why so much of the campaign is, the longer you're in it, the longer you have a client, the more revenue you generate from them. And it's not, we have to get out of our own minds a lot of time. Oh, I'm not doing any work for this guy. It feels wrong, but you really are. You own this network of sites that is holding his rank to the top. That's what he's paying for. He's not paying for your work. He's not paying for you to hire somebody to do Web 2.0 sites or hire you to do, you know, whatever. It's not all about dollars for work. It's about dollars for the dollars that he's getting back in return because of what you own that he's paying to keep his rank there. So
obviously, if he does decide to back out, and you've got all these things that you now have set up, you pull those from him and his site just drops.
Yeah. So there's a conversation along the way, and this has happened to a couple of mine. They'll realize, and one guy was like a year in, he's like, why do I keep paying you again? Because we already had the conversation before, so now I'm reminding him again. So if you remember back when a few months, into our campaign, I explained how it is we do this and why you're going to be retaining your rank. Because normal SEO people will go and swap links. They'll do link swapping. That doesn't help. You get a link, you get power. You give a link, you lose power. So that's a wash. Or you'll go get backlinks from like blog sections or blog comments. Well, what if that blog disappears? You're not in control. We set up a scenario where we're in control, okay? So when we point a link from one of our powerful sites, we own all these sites with massive amount of trust and authority in Google's eyes. When we point them to you, Google sees that power. What happens when we remove those? And you kind of let them marinate on that. Google sees thousands of links worth of power leaving all at once. Your ranking doesn't stay there. So you can keep paying $1,000 a month for the $10,000 to $30,000 a month in revenue that these sites are helping you generate because of your ranking, or you stop and we remove it and we have to use these highly valuable sites on another client. That's just how it works. And then they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And they keep paying. You will get clients that quit though. I mean, sometimes it's just too much. And this kind of comes to when you get into prospecting, you don't want to hire clients that can't handle a big spike in volume. Like if they're not ready to hire more staff, buy more fleet, whatever they got to do, expand to other areas, cut off all their other coupons and advertising, and do something with this problem of having more customers than they've ever had before, then they're not the right client. Because you're going to run into that. And so I've had people quit and say, I've got to go back to word of mouth because this is just too much. I didn't want to grow past, my family being able to run the business. We don't want to hire outside, help and buy more trucks and all this. So, and I understand. I get it. And so it's just what it is. So as you go through and you're not in pro yet and you look at more of the RankDaddy TV episodes, you see this story, which is consisting of clients and experiences that we've had literally tripling, quadrupling revenues of businesses with this process. And it's the sheer power of Google. It's insane. The amount, like if you've got a business that wants to grow, I've helped dentists expand their office and hire more hygienists and landscapers to hire more fleet and expand to other areas, and limo companies that serve one city, but now they're suddenly having to open satellite offices because they're getting so many calls in these other little towns, around San Antonio, like New Braunfels and Kirby and I can't remember the other city. Round Rock, that's Austin. Anyway, you get to the point where you see these things and you realize that you can help anybody with this if they're willing, but you're still in control. You still don't have to have a contract, right? You can still help them scale if they want to scale.
Well, that brings up another question. If you're starting in a town that's 150,000 and the guy's got an established business there and you start growing him and he starts getting bigger, what are you doing to set him up in other locations so he can go bigger? Are you setting up GMBs in those areas? Or are you?
No. And this is where it comes into where you kind of have to go through the training to understand.
I got you.
He has a website already. He's ranking for this one city. And watch episode 5. It talks about ranking in areas thousands of miles away without having fake GMBs. All we're doing is building a location page for all these other cities. And they automatically start to rank because the main core site has trust. And you've set up proper on-page SEO for these other locations.
So you're not running Facebook ads or anything like that at all to get that traffic built up. You're just
no, it's all organic.
Trust. I got you.
Yeah, it's all based on trust. The number one ranking factor, even for maps. Like I've taken course after course on maps trying to figure it out. There's course after course that comes out, but they crumble. The maps algorithm changes so frequently. I don't know why, but like you could have GMB ranked and it's number 1, and then suddenly it's off the pack together. It's way down to 12 and you don't understand it. It's because you're applying all these fake temporary patch techniques which worked on this algorithm, but now they don't apply anymore. So trust is the number one map ranking factor. The only way we've ever been able to see how to keep somebody stuck at maps is to run the RankDaddy process for organic, bring trust to their site, which passes to their GMB. So now the guys who have ranked for dozens and dozens of organic keywords are also ranked number one in the map for those locations. And we haven't done any fake tricky stuff. We just let the trust do all the work.
So what is the pro? Is that the $199 a month? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, it's $199 a month or $17.97 for a lifetime. But some of you know, some of you don't. That's going to stop in probably 7 to 10 days. Because of the results we're seeing with members, we're bringing this back up to a $5,800 join fee. So there won't be any more $199 new members coming in. If you're already in at $199, you're grandfathered in. You can stay there.
But is that $199? Is that indefinite forever, or
until you quit, until you want to stop?
So it's not until you reach the 1,800. It's perpetual.
No, it's you choose. You can pay $1,800 once, or 2 payments of $947. Or you can pay $199 for as long as it's like a monthly membership access.
I got you.
So, yeah.
Brandon, I had a question about the white labeling. I saw in one video it talked about if you have one white label each month, then that can help cover your $299 fee. Is that one new? Is that one new white label every month? So like the second month, I would have to have 2 white labels, and the third month I'd have to have 3 white labels. Is that how that works?
No, that actually stopped. We're not doing the $199 refund for white label deals.
Okay.
The next step actually is white label deals can only be used for lifetime. Like, we're growing as a company internally, and we're trying to set up all these processes so that as a core, we can keep providing these outsourced services to the members.
Okay.
We go through and change some things. White label will only be available to people who are lifetime. They're not on the $199 plan because it's too valuable.
So can you convert to the lifetime from the $199? Is that something like? Okay.
Yeah, you can upgrade at any point. You can do that right on the website. Your $199 cancels and you're paid in full. Which is, a lot of people will come and they'll pay $199 for 6 months. And they're like, why am I doing this? I can just pay once and it's done. Because then you have a lifetime access to whatever we add as upgrades. And then you'll have other benefits as well. You get added to the insiders group after you either hit $10,000 a month recurring or you're 6 months in. So the insiders group, we talk about multiple streams of income, other higher level tactics of rankings, things like that. So it's like a more elite stuff that would confuse newer members coming in or distract them maybe. Right. So
this is just to clarify, I'm in the $200 one right now, trying to get clients. It's my goal. Gonna do it.
Sure.
And then I would like to become a lifetime member. Do I have 2 or 3 months where I can do that, or are you going to this 5,800 and then I would have to do that if I'm already in as this? I just don't want to miss my window.
Once the price changes, the price changes. Now, once we do that, we will look at what you've paid already in $199s and probably do the difference. We won't just make you cold do the whole deal, because that's a bigger jump, and you've been with us already. We don't want to harm that relationship or whatever. But as it is right now, you'd upgrade and just pay the 1 payment or the 2 payments. The other thing we see with lifetime, it's something mental, I think. And you look at Peter's post and some of the other people who just decided, they just went in. It's like you got skin in the game and suddenly something is triggered and you just start scaling insanely fast. And we have all the data, right? We can see all the members paying $199 and see all the members who are at lifetime. These guys who are at lifetime, they reach 10K a month crazy fast. And then they're hitting 30K just as fast, because 10K is like, it takes more effort. And once you get to that point, now you know how to rinse and repeat and build. And you can hit 30K like crazy fast after that. And we're seeing like 6 to 9 months. Except Robert did 100 grand in 10 months. But he was kind of a different story. But then once you're in these higher levels, you learn other techniques of prospecting where you're covering more, you're landing more deals at once. I don't know. It's exciting. But yeah, lifetime is, if you have the ability to go lifetime, because it's going to 10x your game just because it does. And I think because you mentally, okay, I've just put $2,000 into something. This is what I'm doing, right? I'm going to make this work. And it just does. I think that's a big part of it. It's a mental deal.
Okay.
Let me
Thank
get
you.
into let me just check this chat again. Ted says, can you rank a Shopify site? I literally just now got an email asking. It's a nonprofit animal rescue that sells t-shirts to raise money. So I've ranked Shopify sites, but only on a local level. Yours sounds more like a national level. If it's a nonprofit animal rescue, they're selling t-shirts, you're probably selling them nationally. So my Shopify site, and I don't even know why he chose Shopify to build it. It was a mattress store. And it hit top 3 in 2 weeks. But then he was only with us for a few months and they closed or he sold or something. So it was weird. But yeah, Shopify works. Any platform works if it's local, because now you're back to that population thing. How long would it take to rank 1 million population? Longer than it takes for 100,000 population. Now you go national. Now you got millions and all this competition selling t-shirts or whatever the niche is, right? It's crazy hard. It's just not even worth getting into. And you'll get a lot of that as you prospect. I just got into this MLM, and if I can rank this, I think I can get a lot more. Can you do, and they want you to rank nationally. Just no, sorry. The easy, scalable money is all in local, and not necessarily local to you. It's local to anywhere on the planet. We've got local business deals in Australia, in Canada, in one in Singapore. So it's local to the pocket population of that locality, not local to you. Like I've only got like 4 or 5 deals in my city. And those are just, I don't know. Some of them I knew, but anyway, I focused on landing deals not near me. One, I think, because in the beginning I didn't want to meet or talk to anybody on the phone. So if they think they live by me, they're going to want to meet. Like, I don't want to meet. I got an internet business, so I can do this from wherever I'm at. Do you recommend ClickFunnels? I'm thinking of doing the 30-day ClickFunnels challenge. So I don't use ClickFunnels in my agency. We obviously use it for RankDaddy, but now you're on a global scale. We're bringing in members from across the globe. ClickFunnels is great, but I don't think it has a place in local agency. There's been a couple who've tried, and I don't know. I've never been able to figure out how to make a ClickFunnels funnel work easier and more effective than what we're doing. I think it takes the personal, reaching out and screencast or however you're prospecting, whether it's by phone or whatever. Everybody's got their own favorite comfort zone of prospecting. I don't think a funnel does it. I don't think a funnel fits in here. Russell Brunson is a freaking genius. I've learned a lot from him, and probably more so as far as business mindset and stuff, because I hate building funnels. I always pay somebody else to build the funnels. I could never build one that worked. I bought the 30-day challenge thing with ClickFunnels, and I stopped because it was overwhelming. You get a packet of stuff, a box, but I don't think it has a place in what we're doing. It's not necessary. Do you ever build inner location pages if a client is paying for their main city to add value or to increase their ROI? Yes. That's how you scale a business. So if they hire you for one location and they want to start reaching other areas because they see you're giving them results and they can expand, charge them. You're going to charge them because there's no point. Why would it even make sense if you are charging them for one location and you didn't charge them for others? And that's going to kind of devalue your service, because adding other areas, if they're the same size, it's at least worth this much. But since he's already paying this much, maybe you can discount the other locations. You also have the scenario where maybe he's ranked in New Braunfels, but 30 miles away is a San Antonio million population or an Austin million population. So now that fee is not less because it's bigger. There's more competition. You're going to charge more. So this is $1,000. These might be $2,000 a piece. But building location pages is an easy way to scale both your agency revenue, but also the revenue and the customer base of the client you're working for. Moses says, how Would one client per city per niche rule work if you had two potential clients in neighboring cities? So for example, their businesses are in cities right next to each other and they both want to rank multiple locations. So when you come from multiple locations, I think ethically there can be some overlap. If you've got one guy in town A and one guy in town B and they're both roofing and now they're both scaling and they both want to start ranking for other areas and you've got some overlap, I think that's ethical because you're not trying to sell them the same thing, number one spot for the one city, right? These are extra businesses. You're helping them grow their city. You can talk to them about it. I don't think any business is going to care because here's the point. The power of Google is massively insane. You got a guy roofing ranked for number one and number two, and then a different keyword, they're flopped, and a different keyword, they're flopped again. They both tripled their business already, right? They're not going to care if they're not even going to look at that. This is again us getting in our own heads. Susan says, do you use LinkedIn for prospecting? Are there script ideas you can share from Chester? I actually didn't get into the LinkedIn prospecting with him yet. Chester? Tanner Chedester. I don't know how to say his name, but I only bought his $2,000 course. And that kind of touched on the Facebook prospecting method. But then when I realized he went through the traffic and funnel guys course, I bought their $10,000 course. This guy hits $10 million in 2 years, in a year in revenue. I want to know who he's learning from. So these guys are hitting crazier numbers than that. And they're learning from guys that they pay consistently $20,000 a month for coaching. I want to learn from them. So that started taking their course. I stopped even going through Tanner's course, and I haven't done any LinkedIn prospecting. I know it works though, because there's people in the group that are using it. There may even be a script in the file section. I don't remember. I've got a LinkedIn account. I look at it like once every 6 months. I don't know. I never got into LinkedIn, but I know it's a great method for landing clients because you're focused. They're all business owners, right? For the most part. Yeah, 10K is crazy, but it's insane. Like, it's already made my money back, like in the first 2 weeks. And he is how I was pointed to Alaric, who does the $20,000. Now I got the higher version of that because I wanted a hands off. I want YouTube ads, but I don't want to learn how to do them. I want them to do them. So I got the higher level, but Alaric went through the traffic and funnel guys course. Some of this may be gibberish to a lot of you guys hearing, but if you stay in for a while, you're going to start getting targeted by a lot of these names, and you'll see their courses and see what I'm talking about. I've watched the traffic and funnel guys grow over the last couple of years to where like they looked like bums, but they knew what they were doing. But now they recently rebranded, and like these guys are onto something, and they're helping thousands and thousands of people and coaches like me to hit next levels and able to help more and more people. So anyway, that's all the group chat. Anybody else got anything?
I just wanted to ask, when you do your screencast, are you using any professional microphones or setup or lighting or anything like that?
No, you'll see that this is so scaled back, crazy, stupid, simple, like nothing like that. In fact, I don't know if it's in light or not. The first one I shot, even before I started doing a lot of screencasts, was from my iPhone. And so I see a guy at Academy Sporting Goods. I'm walking into Lowe's, and he's got this massive Toyota 4-wheel drive truck wrapped with his garage door company. So I'm like, if that dude's going to drop 50, 60 grand on a truck, he can afford $1,000 a month for SEO. So does he need it? I looked him up, San Antonio garage door company. He's nowhere, like anywhere, page 3 and down. So on the way into Lowe's, I've got selfie mode going, and I'm recording a video, and it's out there. It's in the public. I don't remember if it's in the light, but it's in pro. And like in 90 seconds, I shoot this video as I'm bouncing around with my cart. Hey, I like your truck. I just did a quick Google search. I help people with Google. And it sounded so stupid. And it was shot so unprofessionally. But he called me that afternoon. We met the next day. He gave me $1,000. And so it doesn't have to be any kind of fancy. I think you're relating more to people if you don't have a green screen in the background and you don't have professional lighting and you look perfect and there's no flaws and you sound exactly right. Screw up on purpose if you have to, because you're more relatable. Like, these are business owners. You want to be relatable to them, but yet knowledgeable enough to be able to help them grow their business. That's all they care about. They hear and pick up on the fact that you're able and you have the knowledge to help them grow their business. You're in, especially when you don't have a contract. They can just try it. You got a money back guarantee, and you got all these results of what your team has accomplished for business owners just like them. Who doesn't want to try that if you're a business and you want more customers? That's like such a no-brainer pitch. It's ridiculous. But yeah, nothing professional.
When you're offered a money-back guarantee, are you having to prove that you're bonded in any way to do that? Or you ever have that question? Or
no, my guarantee is this. And you sound interested. You need to go through some more of the RankDaddy TV episodes. Pick out some ones that stand out to you. But my guarantee is literally this. If you don't see a massive increase in rank within the first 60 days, you get all your money back. I've never given anyone their money back, because the first 60 days is where they see the biggest jumps. I'll take them from page nowhere to page 2, the page 7 to page 2. These are massive jumps, and they know that. The guarantee is blown out in the first 30 days because the process works. I didn't start using the guarantee until I had thousands and thousands of results proving that the process worked. So no bonding needed. So the biggest tip so far, Susan, is that the prospecting method from Traffic and Funnels. I'm just now going through kind of recrafting our offer, and they are one of the biggest reasons that we're going to a 5,800 price point, in which why I keep harping in the group on price. I know, yes, I started this agency at $250, $300 deals because that was lack of confidence. But I think now there's so much confidence in this group and the process and the results people are seeing using it, that there is no reason you shouldn't have your minimum deal at $1,000 a month. Ask what you're giving in return. It's got to be based on that, commensurate with that. So here I am trying to teach this, but I'm charging $199 a month for something that people are turning into $1 million a year business within 10 months. Something's wrong with that picture. I look at the data and see that the people going lifetime kill it even faster than that. 2,000 for this course is low. They even told me 5,800 once they go through and they start digging into my course and what we do and the results. And they said 5,800 should be your starting point low. So Susan was asking if I had any tips from the $10,000 course that I just started in. That was a big one. Price. I'm undercharging for RankDaddy based on what people are getting from it. Chris was $199, but just became a lifetime member. Thanks for the heads up. So there you go. The other thing that I picked up in Traffic and Funnels was the Facebook prospecting and how stupid easy it is to join groups and message people one-on-one. Here's what I do. I go into these groups. So pick a city, type in the city in groups in Facebook, and you'll see community groups. You can friend people that are engaging and doing things, and maybe click them, look at their profile page. You see they got a local business, whatever. Friend them, and then don't do anything. Grab some water. When they friend you back is when it's most effective to say, hey, thanks for the connect. How's your business been going since the pandemic? Now they've already started talking to you. They're going to reply. And so you can go back into that funnel. I think I missed that point in the beginning of this video. If you didn't start at the beginning, watch with the replay. We're talking about how to land customers and prospect using Facebook Messenger and Facebook groups. So friend them first. Go through these groups, and maybe you've added, you've joined 10 groups across 10 different cities and these local community groups. One I have in New Braunfels is called Dads of New Braunfels. You can go in, and the other day I needed to rent a big old dumpster because we're clearing off some of our property. And so I just go in there and search. Hey, I'm in search of a 40-yard roll-off dumpster. And within minutes, right, you got the other dads helping you, other people in this community. So these are tight-knit groups. So you go in there to the business groups and ask them or look at the posts, click their name, like them. So you want to friend 10 people to 30 people a day. Don't go over 30 because you'll get banned by Facebook. And you may want to build up. Just do 10. When they friend you back is when you message them. Hey, thanks for the connect. Maybe you've already, because you're in the same community, got, mutual friends. You can acknowledge that. Otherwise, just ask them how their business is during the pandemic and start a conversation. So they call it the conversation conversion method because it's really all you're doing. You're starting a conversation and then directing it, if at all possible, to seeing how you can help their business. And if you're comfortable and you want to set up, hey, if you got time, we can set up a 10-minute phone call and I can see if there's a way that I can help your business. If not, I probably know somebody or can point you in the direction that can help you if you're looking for more customers. So when they hear stuff like that, you want to help them, but if you can't, you're going to point them into another direction. So you're not caring about money. You're just trying to help this guy. You're both in the same local group, which this is why it helps when you join not to really do anything instantly. So maybe spend today joining a bunch of groups and engaging here and there. The longer you're in that group, because some of them may look and see how long you've been a group of that member, or a member of that group. So that's probably the biggest point. And I haven't finished going through this course by any means. I'm just barely started, but I'm already picking up nuggets like this that have $40-some thousand in my agency later within a month, and another dozens of students, half of which who have paid for lifetime coming to RankDaddy. I think my 10 grand was well spent, right? So these are all tips that I'm bringing to you guys because I'm going to keep doing this because I'm always learning, but I'm learning so that I can help you guys. I love, love, love when you guys come into the group and post your success on how you've been able to help other businesses or you've landed a deal or whatever. I'm like, that junk makes my day. So the more stuff that I can help and yet keep the course simple, because I don't want to get to the point like a lot of courses I've taken is just information. You get done, you're like, what do I do now? I know all this stuff, but there's no roadmap. So that's why I made the recap doc. So you can go through, learn the training, but when it's ready to apply, just look at that doc. Do this on day 1. Do this on day 5. So you have a roadmap there. I want to keep it simple, yet keep bringing value. I think that what's going to happen is the prospecting section is just going to keep getting crazy, crazy long. I might need to sort it into what's working the best. And then here's some other methods if you just want to look at them. Chris says, I started a support local businesses in Chicago Facebook group. It's about 256 members, but I had some difficulties getting people to engage. I tried giving them a free audit, but no takers. Am I doing anything wrong? Yes. We're not starting the groups because now you got to get into building the groups. We're just joining groups that are already there and they're already filled with our customers. So the fastest way to get customers is to go to where your customers already are. So if you go to Facebook groups and type Chicago, or maybe type some of these other little pocket cities in Chicago, then look through the groups and say, you'll probably see Chicago Business Owners Community or whatever, or Chicago Roofers Alliance. I mean, you might see different. You got to search through that list of groups within that city. Join those. Like or request friendships to 10 people a day in those. 10 people total. So if you join like 10 groups, don't do 10 friends in each group. You'll get blacklisted. And Facebook will warn you now. It'll say, wait, stop, in some crazy message, you know, because they see you're doing the same thing and it almost looks like spam. So you got to stop. Give it a couple of days rest. When those people reach back to you and acknowledge your friendship, because they're going to see, I don't know, people just like friends on Facebook. When they say, yes, I'm your friend. Now you can connect them. Facebook will give you an alert. I do all this from my phone. I turn on my laptop for this and to watch videos for training. And that's about it. 99%, my entire business is run from my iPhone. It's just stupid easy. Now that you can do screencasts from your iPhone, it's like, why do I need a computer anymore? So Facebook can give you an alert saying, this person accepted your friend request. Just go over to my notepad, start at the top, copy the one that says, hey, thanks for the connect. How's your business been during the pandemic? Some of them may not fit. Some of them you might have friended and they don't actually have a business to grow. So some of that may be during the weeding out process when you're doing that. Does that make sense, Chris? We're not starting the groups. We're just joining the groups where your likely customers are already at. Join groups that are already engaging. You can't really determine if people are engaging or not because you're only going to friend the people who are engaging. You're not going to the members list. You're looking at the conversation in that group, right? So you join a group and scroll through it or search the group for keywords like business or marketing or whatever. So maybe somebody has typed in something within that group because they're asking about it. So you got to scroll through that group and hand select the people you want to mark as friends. Just don't go blanket friend everybody because you don't know who you're going to be. They may not have businesses at all. They're just a part of the business group because they're trying to start a business or they thought about it 5 years ago and they're still in the group, So you got to be smart about it. But once you get really good at this, it's very quickly. Within minutes, you go through add 10 people and you want to try to start 10 conversations a day and tell me that you didn't land less than 5 deals that month because I've landed dozens in the 3 weeks since I've learned this. You'll kind of develop your own little system. And there's an actual formula in the prospecting section on Light and on Pro. Go all the way to the bottom. I hit it at the bottom because all of the prospecting in the Light is blacked out. It's redacted because you haven't paid to learn this. But if you go to the bottom, I gave you that. And it's got my whole video training on how to do this. Some of this I'm giving you more detail here, but there's a script in there as well as a document with a cut and paste, some suggested topics to talk about and how to lead them through to where you're trying to get them to go. As far as how can I help you? Can we have a conversation? Let me do an audit for you. It's free. And that's kind of where you want to go, right? If you want to shoot a screencast, you get them to that point. Now they're engaged. Now they're going to open it. They're going to watch it. And you've already reached out and you've given so much effort and value that they can see you care about their business. You're not asking for money yet. You're just trying to help them because that's what you do. So hope that makes sense.
Thanks, it did. I unmuted myself just because I was probably making. So I started the Support Local Businesses in Chicago group based off of what I was told to do in my other SEO training from another group.
Oh, gotcha.
But I couldn't get anyone to engage. So you're saying just go ahead and go to Facebook in Chicago local areas and find roofers or whatever it is, a niche that I want.
Don't even go niche. Go higher level up. Business owners.
Business owners, okay.
There's business owner groups. Now you've got a good market to weed through. Because if you go try to just look for roofing, I don't know, they may not exist. Because roofing owners, plumbing owners, whatever, they're all looking for how to grow their business. So they're joining business groups. And I don't know if you know anything about BNI groups, business networking groups. Now that you have to pay for, but Peter, I think on the last Zoom call, talked about it, and that's how he was able to grow his business so quickly in the last 100 days and hit $160,000 a year in billing so far and still scaling. He's using groups like that because they're all business owners. Like you're going to a room that is filled with your potential clients. It's so easy, like to start conversations and comparing to just going to Google and cold prospecting somebody with a screencast. This Facebook method is, I don't know, I think it's going to be especially now, everybody's kind of boxed in. I think it's going to be the way we see members in this group grow insanely well for their agency, because it's more targeted. You're reaching directly out to people you can help, and they're already looking for help, maybe because they've joined that group.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so last question, I'll leave you guys alone. That business group only has about 265 members. Do I dump it? Does it have any value to it?
So that's another thing when you're joining. So that group and the groups that you join post, periodically, nothing to do with sales, just to give value, right? Things that you know about business or things that you've learned here that would be helpful to business owners, because now you're going to get people seeing your posts, and those posts, one comment bumps it back to the top.
Okay.
Now more people are seeing it. You're going to get people reach out to you because of those posts that you're just freely giving value. And it may be you shoot a little screencast video of yourself doing an audit on a sample site, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
I just want to throw this out there for business owners because some other people were able to use it, and it really helps Google see what your site's about to help you rank. So paste that. I guarantee you that's going to get lit up because people are in these groups because they want more customers.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you so
give
much.
value to your group too, and it'll probably grow, and other people will come in when they contact you, or you can, solicit them more freely there because it's your group. You're not going to get kicked out of it.
Right. Thank you so much. This has been valuable today. Very much so. Thank you.
Brandon, I'm trying to see on the subscription, like on the RankDaddy Pro page, where to upgrade, and I'm not finding it. So
on RankDaddy.com?
Yeah, on the courses, BrandonOlson.com.
No.
Like when I'm in the back page.
You just go to RankDaddy.com, click join, and then click one of the two choices for Pro.
For upgrading, so since I'm already in.
It's not a real upgrade.
Okay.
It's not a real upgrade, but when we see that through, we go in and stop your 199s.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a flat new join. It's not really an upgrade.
It's a flat switch over kind of thing.
From the main RankDaddy.com page.
Okay. Thank you for explaining that so I could find it.
Yeah, I should probably have it in there. We're kind of new to this Kajabi platform. I don't know if some of you were on the old platform, which was built on WordPress, because I thought that was the way to go, because the previous training I was in where I learned how to create a course, it was built on WordPress. So I didn't even know that sites like Kajabi and all these membership platforms even existed. But man, I'm glad we switched over because it's so easy to add content and tweak things, and I think it's easier for the user to navigate the course than the old version. It became clunky, and there was always updates and just errors we had to fix with that. So now we pay Kajabi monthly, and they handle all that. Let's see. Should contact be at the top of page or bottom? I learned at the top on the lead gen group we belong to. The contact us, the web form, LA, is that what you're asking about? I think so. So if you're doing a lead gen site, it kind of needs to be prominent, right? Because that's where you want it. But in reality, that goes under the contact page. It's not a prominent piece, and it actually hurts your rankings when it's prominent, because you want your home page, especially the top of the fold, to be all content, your H1, what your site is about. If you got a contact us web form at the top, Google can't, you're wasting all that incredibly valuable real estate that Google uses to really determine what the site's about. If Google sees your site and there's a contact form, what do they got to rank you for, right? That contact logically on a real business, if I go to a business's website, I want to read what they're about, and if I want to contact them, I know I can click the contact button, right? So that's where that logically should go. But on a lead gen site, that's what they teach you. It needs to be there prominent because you're going to be more likely to get leads. It's just crazy hard to get it ranked. So yeah, that's one cue when you're looking through. Somebody asked how to identify lead gen site. If you see a prominent, request for quote for information or whatever, and it's prominent. It's probably a lead gen site. Cool. Who else? I'll take a couple more. We're going a little over here today, but I don't care. It's been good.
I have a question. Do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Hello from Sweden. Hi.
Hey.
I have a question regarding because I'm just right now going through the training, and I've noticed a lot of you guys, you're promoting the outsourcing, right? To the SEO outsource.
Yep.
And I was just wondering, does that apply to my scenario where my clients are not English speaking? They're Swedish speaking.
So you're going to have kind of a mix. So your website content is going to be Swedish. So if you hire somebody to do content, you probably go somewhere like Upwork, and there's thousands of writers for every language, and just hire content, stuff like that there. Google doesn't care if your backlinks coming from a massively powerful English site. You'll still get the credit, right? You still get the benefit, the points, the authority. It passes right through. Google has no boundaries because they're global. And we've never seen people in other countries have to go and try to, like, there was a guy in France, there's a guy in Malaysia. They thought they had to get links from, that type of domain to make it work.
Yeah.
No, they ended up not using any. We thought maybe they'd supplement, but they didn't have to do that. The sites began to rank. So I'm trying to imagine what other scenario you'd need Swedish outsourced stuff. Because your press release can be in English. You can have an American written English press release that is distributed to 500 news sites in America. They're all
I wanted to ask you about that, because in the training you mentioned that you guys do it, and you guys do it pretty well. So the press release I can do through you, right?
Yep. Yeah, Google still sees all of those as is giving you trust and authority, no matter where the site's at. I think your only thing is if you're going to have content added to the site.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks for answering. That's about it. Thanks.
All right. No, Susan, I don't suggest Facebook ads to get clients. I'd rather stick with, if it worked and I did it, and I've tried it, trust me, I've tried it many times over the last 5 years, just to automate some part of getting local, no. One, Facebook's crazy hard for anybody to learn. If you don't know it, or you don't have an ad agency in your pocket, forget it. It's crazy hard to learn. And now, especially during pandemic, there's so many words added to this list that you cannot use in an ad. If you don't have an ad account manager who's spending $1 million a month that has direct access to a Facebook person to get that approved, it ain't getting approved. So no, I stick with what's easy, what's proven, what works, and do fine. I think today's Zoom, we covered a lot of different prospecting things that are going to help a lot of people. What else? My keyboard's stuck. There we go. Well, trying to get the chat box up here again. Okay, here we go. I think that's it. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for all your contributions, your questions. It's hard for me to get on and just train blank, but when I've got people who come on and interact and engage, I think I can give a lot more value when there's discussion and feedback like this. It's the same thing when I get on and I start trying to pitch an SEO client. If I can't get engagement and feedback back and hear from them, I need the dialogue, right? And then it's on fire. But if I'm just going to sit and do something when nobody can react, it's crazy hard for me. So appreciate you guys all pitching in. Do this, whichever group you're in, light or pro, go in there sometime today and just give me one pointer that you took away as a highlight from today's Zoom. I'd appreciate it. And then that'll help everybody else to watch the replay when we get it up. So y'all have a good one.